So, 2023 was quite a year. So many good releases came out literally every single month that it kind of made me think that, there potentially is no bad IM nowadays with how high the standards have become. And yet, I was still quite curious, and who better to ask than the fellow reviewers who have tested a bunch of IMs this year and surely have had a few not so good releases. So sit back, relax, and act like it's Christmas, because this was supposed to be released in Christmas, but I didn't really follow my schedule. And let's find out what the worst IMs that reviewers have tried in 2023.
The worst audio gear of 2023, huh? I'll throw a tricky one here just to piss everyone off. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you 3 seconds. Ready? Maxwell. Hold up, put down your weapon. Don't get me wrong, it's still the best wireless closed-back planar headphones under $500. But for real, it's really my worst audio purchase in this year. I rarely use it and don't even know who I should recommend it to. Let's put comfort aside. It's just casually half a kilo with a pair of shallow, unbreathable earpads on it. Not a big deal. The real problem lies in this sound. To any audiophile who has at least a pair of HD600s, I cannot wholeheartedly recommend Maxwell to them, because it's not showcasing the true beauty of planar like those airy, colorful, transient on-stringed instruments, or the powerful, tactile kind of bass in pop songs. Yes, it is clear and neutral, but also has a slightly compressed, digital kind of sound, if it makes any sense. To normies like my friend who's rocking a $100 HyperX Cloud 2, if it comes to me and asks, "Dude, I got $300 here, should I upgrade to Maxwell?" I would just say hell no, buy these instead and never stare into the rabbit hole again. With that being said, thank you obodioreviews for inviting me into this interesting project, and to those who are watching, I wish you a Merry Christmas.
Hello, my name is Felix from FelixLP YouTube channel. For me, the worst IM I've tested in 2023 has to be the KZ Krilla. Due to the KZ fiasco last year, I tend to steer away from the brand overall. However, seeing the price which is in my budget territory, I demoed them in the local audio store. And I put them away after 10 seconds of listening. Why? Because it was very muddy. And honestly, I don't think I want to be bothered with the whole switches thing. That will be all. Thank you, Obi.
Hey Obi, thanks for having me here. So one IM which I hate will be the KBER Xuanwu. So it's a good looking IM, it's a very good built IM, and the cable is also very good. I think so it can easily compete with a $100 or $200 IMs. But the sound which it offers is like totally wrong. The bass is wrong, the mids are wrong, the treble is wrong. It doesn't do anything right. I don't know what they thought when they were tuning this IM. But yeah, I don't think so it'll please anyone, whether you're a treble head or a bass head. So for me, it's one of the worst IMs I've ever heard. But although for $25, the build quality is absolutely awesome. I mean, it can easily compete with a $200 IM when it comes to build quality. So yeah, thanks for having me. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hey folks, I'm Mark Ryan of SuperReview, and we're at the end of the year, and I'm being asked what is the worst audio product that I've heard in 2023. And to be honest, I don't usually like to award the worst thing, but in this case, I'll add a little bit of hope, all right? The worst audio product I've heard this year is probably, honestly, this guy, which is the Grell and Drop headphone. Now, where I'm going to leave room for hope is that I heard a pre-production version of it, right? At Can Jam in September, late September, there was a demo version of it, and I really liked the build quality on it. The physical form factor of it was pretty awesome, and it being a headphone from renowned headphone creator Axel Grell, it's got my hopes up high, but when I heard the thing, I gotta be honest, the thing is treble hell. Now, they've got time to ostensibly fix it. Hopefully they will, but to be honest, yeah, when I look back at 2023, what was the worst thing I heard? I think it was that guy.
Hey, I'm PraisedAudio, and the worst IEM I've reviewed in 2023 has to be the ImAWS Eagle. This is a 2-dynamic 2BA set for around $150, and I've heard a lot of bad IEMs this year, but this has to take the cake also because of its price. And it's really a shame with gorgeous shells like this. And it's very comfortable. But this set manages to do every single thing in the whole frequency range wrong. The only redeeming quality it had was soundstage. The bass was muddy and not punchy at all, weak. The mid-range was too forward, very shouty. The highs were shrill and sibilant on every track. I don't know how it managed tracks that even have almost no highs in the track to somehow get highs and become shrill. It's really an awful experience. I cannot recommend it to anybody to buy in this price range, and almost in any price range. I don't care if you can get this for $20. It's probably not worth it. Anyway, so thank you to Obi for having me on. Yeah, see ya.
Welcome back. Today we are going to go over some of the worst gear of 2023, and I'm not sure it's the worst gear. I think most people haven't heard the worst gear, but this is gear you may have heard that irked me more than other gear, and we'll start with this one, KZ Krilla. I think everything that could have gone wrong went wrong with KZ Krilla, from the pre-marketing to the drivers that they chose, to the tuning that they chose, to the drama that was created after its release, and KZ really tried to go down with the ship on this one. You know, this just wasn't the hill to die on, and they really tried their hardest to drag themselves down a hole over a set that everyone forgot about a week or two later. So that was KZ Krilla. Up next, upside down, right side up, makes no difference. This one was unlistenable. Probably the only set that I went from pulling out of the box to putting micropore tape on the nozzle in about 30 seconds. Literally couldn't listen to it. Wanted to hear a vibrator in my ear, heard it, put it back in the box, moved on. So that was CVJ Kanoka. Up next, Aria 2. So Aria 2, probably the most listenable set out of this group. Probably the one that irked me the most on the pricing. I paid $45 for it and I felt cheated. Yeah, I mean, I understand when people say it came with a nice cable and it came with a case, but yeah, literally a $35, maybe $40 set at most. Really disappointing that they would have used the name Aria and then charged people a really big premium. $90 is a lot of money for a set that really didn't sound better than their land. So yeah, Aria 2 actually irked me quite a bit simply on the price. Up next, so Michael Bruce called this one Phoenix Fail. I'm not necessarily going to speak too much about this one specifically, but it represents a whole class of $100 to about $300 sets that come with nice packaging, nice cables, nice shells. They look beautiful, but they literally sound, barely better than sub $100 sets. And there's a whole group of them. Phoenix Call, I would say, is one of them. I think there's only a couple sets in that range that actually sounded pretty good. Kiwi Ears Quintet, Kiwi Ears Orchestra Lite, and The Audio Hype 2. And if you think about the connection between those two companies, it kind of makes sense, and there's a long history there. They are really good at tuning. Everyone else is really good at packaging, putting drivers and shells, making it look pretty. Tuning isn't their specialty, and those two companies really excelled in putting out high quality tuning at that price point. Everything else, if you like the red and blue cable, you like the shells, you like to pay a lot of money for a single dynamic driver, there was a bunch of those. But yeah, this $100 to $300 range, you got to really think twice about putting money there, or think about 4 times to put money there, because you're typically not going to hit double, triple, 4 times the amount of sound quality or performance that you get in the sub $100. So yeah, Phoenix Call was kind of in that range. It was kind of barely okay for me. I didn't really like it all that much, but generally be very wary about spending that much money for a set in that price range. So speaking of that price range, here is exactly what I'm talking about, right? This was $300 and something. It had Sony-owned drivers, nice look to it, nice packaging, nice cable. Everything looked really nice until you listened to it, and really it was sort of borderline unlistenable how bright it was, and sort of how far off the tuning should have been for Sony-owned drivers. But, you know, just exactly what I was talking about. You know, they make it sound perfect. It looks very, very cool. But man, it just, you know, it's sort of my nightmare of spending $300 for a set, and you literally couldn't listen to it for all that long. It had a nice dynamic driver. Everything was right. It sort of had some bad marketing, like Krilla, had the right drivers. The price was probably way too high for what it was. Yeah, just kind of a mess. And so just based on price and the sound signature that they delivered, I would say this one is pretty far up there on the list of some of the worst things that I heard in 2023. So that's it. So have a happy holidays, happy new year, and I will see you in 2024.
Worst audio product ever. Okay, let's start with maybe the Hi-Fi Mint Artivina. I get it. It's overplayed with the shocking mount PTSD. But imagine this: you're on another planet, and all of a sudden the aliens are attacking you, and that's what the sound is like. The Hi-Fi Mint Artivina, dude. I know it's overplayed, but it's really bad. Another honorable mention, a headphone, in fact, the VZR Model 1. It is horrific. It's like it has something weird going on with the bass and treble. It's just strange. It's almost like a PR driver. It has some weird tech going on, and it's just horrific. I tried EQing it, but it's like putting lipstick on a pig, and oh yeah, bad. I could mention my Topping G5. It just didn't sound weird. It just had this weird ticking noise, and it just tick, 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 tick. It was just horrific. I can't recommend that thing to anyone. I could also mention it, my Tangzhou Heyday cable that was dead on delivery and did not work. It was very disappointing. I've never had a bad cable before. But the actual IEM product of the year, the worst product of the year, is the Etymotic ER2SE. Not only is it really lean in the bass, but when you put it in, you have to put it all the way in. It's like you feel like you have part of the wire in your skull, and then when you pop it out, all of a sudden it feels like you've just gotten a really good ear cleaning. It's absolutely disgusting, and I can't see how people like this thing. So yeah, for me, I feel violated, and the audio was poor. It's terrible. Thanks. Worst?
What's the worst IM that I've used this year? Well, this may be a bit of a cheap shot, but it's without a doubt the Air Canada complimentary earphones. It's a very cheap IM that seems to be used by a lot of different brands. They're also quite similar to another pair that I picked up from a local dollar store, both which have a light plastic shell with a single dynamic driver, just sitting inside without any separation between the front or rear volumes, or really any care for tuning. They are built to be as cheap as possible, and they achieve that goal. Sorry if you're looking for a more spicy take, but these really kind of are in their own league compared to other IMs with how bad that they are.
Hey awesome friends, I am ImAWSMDanny, and this is my associate, Sonny McSunnerson. 2023 was a very long year in this hobby for me. I did get to try out a lot of sets this year. That's a lot. So it was actually quite difficult to pick the worst one. There was a few sets I didn't vibe with, but I could appreciate. There was a lot of sets that I felt like were not quite there, very unrefined. And then there was just some that completely did not sit well with me at all. Even when it's something that's like preference based, I can usually see that preference point of view and not look at it from just my personal point of view. To be honest, most sets I've tried this year I actually don't like, but I can tell when a set is good and who might like it. At least I would like to think so. But if I had to pick the absolute worst set, it wouldn't be just based on sound alone. It would be the entire experience, because I do like to take the entire experience into account, and that would be the TriStar River. So I actually purchased that set, and it's like literally the only set where I felt burned on the purchase. I regret buying it. I actually gave it away. But overall, it was just, the fit was okay. The shell was prettier in pictures than it was in person. It came with good ear tips. I love Triclarions, which is like one of my top ear tips. But overall, just the sound, it was very difficult to like. It was almost like an exaggerated version of a flat-headed earbud. So on flatheads, you get the roll off, right? You get bass roll off, treble roll off, depending on the fit and the bud. So it kind of emphasizes the mids. Well, TriStar River did something similar with a different approach. Instead of rolling off, it just bumped up the upper mids a lot, and it was very shouty. It was very shouty, fatiguing, could be piercing, and it was just unpleasant. I try to find redeeming qualities in a lot of sets, but this set, there was very little I could listen to with it. And the more I used it, the longer I had it, the less I liked it, especially after trying other stuff. Thanks, Obi. Back to you.
Thank you, Danny. And to finish it off, the worst IM that I tried this 2023 was the Campfire Andromeda Emerald C. Yes, this is the upgrade or the update to the legendary, the famous or infamous to some people, all BA set, the Campfire Andromeda 2020. And this was completely indistinguishable from the OG Andromeda 2020. It was just so muddy, and everything just sounds so filled with bass and literally nothing else. And I saw like their promotional that, you know, people were saying that, oh, Andromeda should have more bass, and this was their answer. That wasn't a good answer. Like, I'll be real, this is not a, it's not a good IM. It's really not, especially for its asking price. You're asking this amount of money for this kind of sound. And I know. No, I'm sorry, Campfire. I please just go back to the 2020 version tuning. Just, I like how this looks. I like the kind of polygonal shape, but not so much everything else. So, that is it. That is the worst IMs or audio gear that reviewers have tried in 2023. Do you agree with our choices? Do you disagree? Comment down in the comment section below what do you think the worst IM of 2023 was. And if you guys comment enough, then I might make another video talking about what my viewers think is the worst IM of 2023, or audio gear. It doesn't have to be limited to IMs, but audio gear in general. So if you want to see that video, make sure to comment down below on what your worst audio gear or IM of 2023 was. And with that, OB Audio out.